we have seen what the Tea Party tensions have done in the Republican Party in recent years. Some people say they're horrible. Other people say, look, we got a House majority and a Senate majority. But is Bernie Sanders here sending a signal to his supporters? Go find other cases. Find establishment figures who are with Clinton. Find superdelegates maybe from states that I won and encourage primary challenges.
Yeah, and this is the worst nightmare for Democrats right now. And people keep talking about 2008 and how that was brutal. This is much more divisive right now. Hillary Clinton at the end of that really rallied behind Barack Obama. She had something to gain at the end of it, which was a Secretary of State position. Bernie Sanders is not in that same boat. He's an independent who caucused with Democrats and is not necessarily looking toward his party future in the Democratic Party. So there's a lot of friction right now that may not be
less leverage with Bernie. Hillary was a party person. Bernie's not even in the party.
That's so key. I mean, with Hillary Clinton, she wanted a Democrat very clearly in the White House. She wanted Democrats to
But Sanders does say repeatedly he doesn't want Trump.
Right. But that's different than saying he wants the Democratic Party as it currently exists to have power.
I reached out to somebody in Vermont who's known Bernie Sanders for 40 years and been a political ally of his and watched his career. And he said that Bernie Sanders sees himself as an indispensable historic figure, and that he feels like Sanders feels like it's his destiny to lead the Democratic Party, and this is his last chance to do so. So, I mean, when you put it in those sort of grand terms, I think it looks a little different.
Well, let's get to that then, because if that's his mindset, and you're Hillary Clinton, and you just told CNN in that interview we showed you a bit from earlier with Chris Cuomo that you think he'll come around. You think eventually it'll be fine, that Bernie Sanders will get it. Right now, she said, I understand this. I went through it in 2008. But listen to Senator Sanders here. He's on State of the Union at the top of the hour. He also did another Sunday show interview where he continues to make the case that Democrats still have time, he says, to pick him over Clinton.
We need a campaign, an election coming up, which does not have two candidates who are really very, very strongly disliked. I don't want to see the American people voting for the lesser of two evils. I want the American people to be voting for a vision of economic justice, of social justice, of environmental justice, of racial justice.
Now, he says he's in the campaign to make our democracy better. And he has issues about superdelegates, about campaign finance and the like. But let's just look at the tail of the tape in the Democratic race so far. She has 1,775 pledged delegates. He has 1,485. She has 522 superdelegates. He has 42. She's won 27 contests. He's won 21. So by lowercase d democracy, she's winning.
She is winning, and it's important for us to all say that, even as we watch a very emboldened Bernie Sanders there, obviously is sort of feeling his oats now. It's important to note that if you look at our polling in 2008 versus now, more Democrats back in 2008 who were supporting Hillary Clinton said that they would not support Barack Obama in the fall than today Sanders supporters say would not support Hillary Clinton. So I think that these wounds are healable. The difference is, though, is that some of the Bernie folks, I think, are much more radicalized than the Clinton supporters were in 08. And I think it can be tough bringing some of them home. The Clinton strategy is not complicated. It's two words. It's Donald Trump. You sort of hold that up and you say, look, you don't love Hillary. You were for Bernie. But this is a sort of national crisis that we're facing. And I think that's going to be what they say.
Right. And if you listen to the full interview with Chris Cuomo here on CNN the other day, she had a little good cop, bad cop. She was very clear. I've been there. I understand the emotions of the supporters. I understand at the end it gets hard.
Though, John.
And she said, I take Senator Sanders at his word when he says, over my dead body, Donald Trump. But she also said something that if you're a Sanders supporter, you're not going to like. And that would be this.
I will be the nominee for my party, Chris. That is already done, in effect. There is no way that I won't be.
They don't want to give Bernie
anything. Bernie supporters crazy. It's this sense of inevitability, this sense that we don't have to let the process completely play itself out. I mean, one thing that someone reminded me that's very interesting about 2008, Hillary played a very active role in getting these reluctant supporters on board. They were handing out buttons to Hillary supporters that said, Hillary sent me, when they would go to Obama rallies. A way of saying that I'm still with her, but I'm going to be on board with him. Bernie, if he's going to if he's not going to be the nominee and he's going to want to stop Donald Trump, he actively needs to play a role in getting supporters on board.
But to understand, but if you're Senator Sanders, the last thing you want to say now is that the math is inevitable because if you can't be the nominee, and he keeps saying he thinks he has a narrow chance, and most of the time he's pretty candid about the math, that it's a very slight chance, but I still have a chance, and he does. But his other goal is the more delegates he has at the convention, the more influence he has on the platform. And so if you say now, oh, it's over, well then how do you expect to win New Jersey? How do you expect to win California?
And they're looking at these platform, the platform committee, the credentialing committee, the rules committee, these big three committees, and figuring out if they can get their people on there. I think for Democrats, the real worry is Sanders fueling this idea that if and when Hillary Clinton gets the nomination, is it a sort of legitimate nomination? Is it the result of a rigged process? And the sort of conspiracy theories that many, a few Sanders supporters sort of traffic in, that it's been rigged.
You've been reading my Twitter feed.
Right, exactly. So that's a problem, I think, that Democrats are
in the past week, it was interesting. We saw a number of members, mostly in the United States Senate, come out and say it's time for Bernie to dial it back. Not drop out. They don't say drop out. They say he has every right to stay into the end. But they wanted to dial back the rhetoric. Now, I just want to note for the record, these senators also happen to support Hillary Clinton. So forgive me. There's a little bit of, mixed message here. And to those who say that Bernie's over the top, I just want to remind people, we've all made a point about 2008. Hillary Clinton, at this exact point in 2008, when it was pretty clear President Obama was going to win in the delegate race, pretty clear superdelegates were shifting toward President Obama, unlike Senator Sanders at this stage in this race, Hillary Clinton was still kind of tough.
This is nowhere near over. None of us is going to have the number of delegates we're going to need to get to the nomination.
There's this frantic effort to push her out because she's winning the general election today, and he's not. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen a candidate treated so disrespectfully just for running.
Look at the electoral map. It is clear I am the stronger candidate against John McCain.
Wow, that's great.
Been there, done that?
It's eerily familiar. It's the same case, too.
It's the same argument he's
I
making.
can beat him in the fall, and my opponent is going to lose in the fall.
It's exactly the same argument he's making.
I mean, she did, in the end, have more voters. It was a little closer in terms of the pledged delegates as well. But yeah, same argument. And apparently, Debbie Wasserman Schultz was making the exact same argument back then
for her
as well for Hillary
But again,
Clinton.
it's the